dedicated to you.
Hello there, very good evening. This is the weekend edition of Primetime News on TV1 for the News First, where the people come first. I'm Martin Satyanesan. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for this evening.
The country could be in jeopardy if the government's programs are disrupted. President reiterates in Anuradhapura, says relief will be provided once the economy recovers.
මේ අවුරුද්දේ තුන්වෙනි කාර්තුවේ සහනයක් ඇටියට රජයේ සේවකයන් සියලු දෙනාටම වැඩිපුර දීමනාවක් දෙන්න.
National Election Commission member receives death threats. 2 members who were previously threatened received death threats once more. The government must bear the responsibility if the elections are disrupted, says election monitoring groups.
මේ මැතිවරණේ කඩාකප්පල් වුණොත් එහි වගකීමෙන් ආණ්ඩුවට නිදහස් වීමේ හැකියාවක් නැහැ.
National People's Power's position on the election says it cannot be stopped.
ඉගෙන අධිකරණ බැඳීම් මොකද ජනතාවගේ මූලික අයිතිවාසිකම් සුරක්ෂිත කරන්න. ඒ නිසා මාර්තු මාසේ 9 වෙනිදා ඡන්දය පැවැත්වෙන එක නේද විශ්වාස.
Power cuts will continue as scheduled. CEB informs Public Utilities Commission. PUCSL to go to court against the CEB.
නීතිමය ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගැනීමට කොමිෂන් සභාවකින් කටයුතු කරනු ලබනවා ඉදිරි දවස් දෙක තුන ඇතුළත.
Dilapidated bridges put rural lives at risk.
Now the stories in detail. The ceremonial awarding of the credentials to the recently elected Atamasthanathipati and Chief Sanganayaka of the Nuwara Kalavya, Most Venerable Dr. Pallegama Hemaratna Nayaka Thero, took place this evening.
The event was held at the historical Jayashree Mahabodhiya premises in Anuradhapura with the participation of the Mahasangha. President Ranil Wickramasinghe presented the Sri Sannas Patra to the recently elected Anuradhapura Atamasthanathipati, Most Venerable Dr. Pallegama Hemaratna Nayaka Thero. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena presented the Vijini Patra to the Most Venerable Thero. Most Venerable Dr. Pallegama Hemaratna Nayaka Thero was elected as the Atamasthanathipati after the demise of the previous Atamasthanathipati, Most Venerable Dr. Pallegama Sirinivasa Nayaka Thero. In 1997, he was appointed as the Viharadhikari of the Ruwanvelli Mahasaya, and in the same year he was honoured with the title of Nuwara Kalavya Chief Sanganayaka. He is responsible for initiating a silent mission for religious revival in Sri Lanka.
අපිට මේ ආධාර නැතුව ඉදිරියට යන්න බෑ.
We cannot move forward without assistance. If we move away from this relief, our economy will collapse. Our domestic reserves are not sufficient. Our foreign reserves are also insufficient. But going forward in this manner, we will be able to boost the economy from 2024 onwards. If we are to reach our pre-2019 levels and be able to provide relief to others, we will need to increase our income by 15%, which means that we will have to increase our current income by 75% in 3 years. This is the biggest problem we face. We will not receive any assistance if this is not done. That is why we took steps to impose taxes like this. I am aware that it is difficult when taxes are increased suddenly in a collapsed economy, but we will not be able to move forward if it is not done. If it is not done, everything that was done thus far will be pointless, which is why the IMF advised that we impose tax on income in order to protect vulnerable groups. Even now, vulnerable groups are struggling. That is true. They acknowledged it. When we debated with them, the IMF told us to impose a tax on those who earn an income of 43,000 rupees. We informed them that we cannot do that and that we will do it for an income of 150,000 rupees. We had to come to an understanding of imposing taxes on incomes worth 100,000 rupees. As a politician, we do not want to be in that position. But to save the country, we must do that. I am aware of how difficult this is. There is debt and other expenses like education costs. I feel it too. Both of us had to face this situation as well. Some have even taken house loans. I have to build a house as well. But I am not going to ask for compensation from the government. We all know how difficult this is. But we cannot distance ourselves from this situation. If we continue like this for another year, we will be able to develop this further. If our income stabilizes, if it strengthens, I expect to provide allowances to state sector employees during the third quarter of this year. We must increase salaries in the future once the economy develops. This is tough. It is difficult to deliver this message as well. It is difficult for a politician to deliver this message. But I have always said it like it is. Win or lose, we must overcome this challenge. That is why I am requesting everyone in Parliament to extend their support so the people can overcome this situation.
මෙතනින් ගොඩ එන්න ඕනේ. ඒකයි මම හැම එක්කෙනාගේම ඉල්ලන්නේ. ඒ සහයෝගය පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ දෙන්න ජනතාවට මේකෙන් ගොඩ එන්න.
Sri Lanka's election headquarters.
Chairman of the National Election Commission, Nimal Punchiheva, says that M.M. Mohammed, a commissioner at the National Election Commission, has been threatened to resign from his position. He says M.M. Mohammed has received death threats through WhatsApp and phone calls last night.
The chairman of the National Election Commission, Nimal Punchiheva, says after informing the Inspector General of Police and the Criminal Investigation Department regarding this incident, special security was provided to M.M. Mohammed's house. He said that SP Divaratna and KPP Patirana, who had previously received death threats to resign from the membership of the commission, have been threatened once again through phone calls. Meanwhile, the chairman added, despite reports that the NEC member PSM Charles had resigned from the election commission, neither Charles nor the president's office had informed him about it.
As of now, another member of the National Election Commission has received death threats. This happened yesterday. 3 members have received death threats so far. They also say that one member has resigned from her post. We can see the final attempts are being made to postpone the election. However, this is a very grave situation. This situation is challenging the country's democracy. If the election is sabotaged, the government will be unable to free itself from the blame. No matter who is behind this, if anything happens to any member of the commission or if someone sabotages the election, the government will have to take the blame.
NPP leader Andrew Kumara Dissanayake says that there is only one step left to hold the local government election. He made these remarks while attending a conference of banking and financial sector professionals in Colombo this morning.
The National People's Power is the only movement that has the ability and desire to rebuild this country. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses. That applies to me too. What's the most important element in ruling a country? The main task is to manage the state by focusing on capabilities. That's what the National People Power does. There are just 5 steps to an election: announcing the election, placing bonds, acceptance of nominations, announcement of polling date. That's it. 4 out of the 5 steps are now complete. There is just one left. We are confident that the final step cannot be stopped. Do not be in doubt. The only chance left is the court case scheduled for the 10th. The primary role of the judicial system is to protect the fundamental rights of the people. Voting is a fundamental right of the people. If they don't hold the election, then we should take them to courts. I don't believe that the court will order to cancel the election. The court is bound to protect the fundamental rights of the people. So we believe that the election will be held on the 9th of March.
Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa says following completion of the local government election, an advisory council consisting of young people will be established in every village. He made these remarks while attending a meeting in Suryawawa Hambantota.
An Aragalaya took place in the country. Gotabe Rajapaksa and the Rajapaksa family were ousted by the Aragalaya. One of the demands of the Aragalaya was to give the youth a place in decision-making bodies as well as to give them a voice and provide them with opportunities. Our party has taken a decision to appoint a youth advisory council to every provincial council regardless of caste or creed. We will vest powers with this group. They will be able to monitor the work done by officials. For example, if the chairman is carrying out his duties or if the vice chairman and the chairman are looting money through underhand deals. Through this system, we will give the youth the power to monitor if ministers are involved in deals with their henchmen in order to collect bribes or commissions.
A group of independent parliamentarians from the Colombo Municipal Council submitted a complaint to the Election Commission today. They complained that a group of MPs representing Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna from the Kaduwala Municipal Council intend to obtain funding from the Municipal Council in order to construct roads in the build-up to the election.
150 million rupees to build roads. They have presented contracts to the Finance Committee as well. They are preparing to submit these at the General Assembly for approval on the February 1st. At a time when an election has been announced, this states that the proposals of these council members has the mayor's backing. We urge the authorities, the President and the Prime Minister, provide an explanation for this. The Election Commission should take action against this. A commission of 50 million rupees has been allocated to set up an SLPP office. Also, a program has been set up to provide commissions of 500,000 to candidates and MPs representing the SLPP. This is very unfair on the other candidates who are contesting this election.
We'll continue with more local stories after this short commercial break. Stay tuned.
News First. Main sponsor.
Durden's Hospital, dedicated to you. Experience the best in healthcare at Durden's Hospital's new Alfred Place wing. We continue to evolve into a purpose-built hospital of the future, with an ambience built to deliver world-class care. Durden's Hospital, dedicated to you.
Welcome back to the news. As rehearsals for the 75th Independence Day celebrations got underway, a special traffic plan was implemented in Colombo today. The traffic plan will be in effect until the 4th of February. This year, 200 million rupees has been allocated by the state for the Independence Day celebrations.
According to the police, the traffic plan will be in effect from 5 a.m. to 12 noon every day until the 4th of February. According to the new traffic plan, 20 roads will be closed and vehicular movement has been restricted. Galface Centre Road from the Galface Roundabout to NSA Roundabout and Chaitya Road. From Kolpeti Junction to Galface Roundabout and the Kolpeti Station Road. From York Street towards BOC, Chatham Street, Mudalige Mawatha and entrance to Sir Baron Jayatilaka Mawatha. Entering the YMBA Roundabout from the Khan Clock Tower Roundabout. Olkat Mawatha from Seno Junction towards CTO Junction. The Lotus Tower Road from the CTO Junction to the Ceramic Junction. Entering the DR Vijayawardhana Mawatha from the Gamini Roundabout. Entering the Regal Junction from the Slave Island Police Junction. Sir Mohammed Makan Maka Mawatha entering the Baladaksha Mawatha from the Baladaksha Mawatha Junction. Gall Road from the Bambalapitiya Junction towards Kolpiti. Marine Drive from the Bambalapitiya Station Junction towards Colombo. Entering the R.A. Mel Mawatha from the Thumulla Junction through Bauddha Loka Mawatha. Ananda Kumaraswamy Mawatha entering the Liberty Roundabout through the Flower Road Junction. Entering the St. Michael's Roundabout through the Liberty Roundabout. Residents in the aforementioned areas can travel as per the instructions of the motor traffic control officers while the special traffic plan is in effect.
It has been the practice in Sri Lanka to give various development projects to henchmen to spend money for elections. These result in cheap development projects. Projects built in this manner are not durable. But on the other side of the fence, villagers in rural Sri Lanka ask for a road, a bridge, a drop of water to quench their thirst, or an elephant fence to protect their villagers.
The main bridge along the road to the Bibilawatha village in Bibila Monaragala in the Uva province has been in a dilapidated condition over a long period of time. Anyone attempting to cross Galaoya on this bridge during heavy showers are putting their lives at risk.
මේ ඔය වතුර ආවතේම යන්න එන්න බෑ වෙන පාරකුත් නෑ අපිට යන්න සේරම වත්තේ මිනිස්සු ගමේ මිනිස්සු සේරම යන්නේ මේ පාලෙම.
The shortest route for people of many villages including Kuda Badulu Gammana, Malhava, Vagama and Kotagama to visit the Bibila town, the hospital and school is through this bridge. Over 2,500 families use this bridge daily.
දරුවන්ගේ ජීවිතේට මොන හරි දෙයක් සිද්ධ වුණොත් කිසිම දේශපාලඥයෙක් මෙතෙන්ට ඇවිල්ලා වැඩක් නැහැ. අපි ඒ දරුවෝ මෙතනින් ජීවිත කිහිපයක්ම බිලි අරගෙනත් තියෙනවා.
The villagers question why bridges that are up to standard are not being built by managing the funds allocated for rural development in a stringent manner. The Panikhanapur bridge in Matadumbara in the central province suffers the same fate. What you see is barely a bridge, which the villagers put together using logs of wood.
කැලේලි දාගල කොටා කොටා දාලා තමයි මිනිස්සු යන්නේ එන මේ පාරවල. දවසකට දරුවෝ 15 දෙනෙක් වගේ මේක ඉස්කෝලේට යනවා.
Although the Hiloya, which flows under this bridge, is a scenic sight, the life stories of the people crossing this bridge are not as pleasant.
60 විතර එක්කෙනෙක් ඇවිල්ලා මේ පාරේ ගිහිල්ලා ලීයක් කඩාන වැටෙනවා. ඡන්දේ දවස්වල විතර කට්ටිය එනවා. ඊට පස්සේ අපි ඉන්නවද මරනවද කියලා කවුරුත් බලන්න දෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඇවිල්ලා පාරම අදලා දෙනවා කියලා පාන හදන්නේ. බලන්න පාරම එක තත්ත්වය බලන්න.
The villagers demand a bridge to be constructed so they can travel to and from the village in a safe manner. While the fuel crisis, fertilizer crisis and wild elephant attacks have hit farming communities hard, they have also had to face the effects of yellowing of crops during harvesting season. At present, paddylands in areas like Trincomalee and Puthlam are being harvested, but farmers say that the harvests are not the same as other seasons. This is the situation in the Trincomalee, Kantale, Suryapura, Jantipur areas of this eastern province.
වීටික මිලදී ගැනීමේ වැඩපිළිවෙලක්වත් හැදුවොත් යම් ප්‍රමාණයකට මේ ගොවියන්ට සහනයක් ලැබෙයි. මේ
ඒ කපන ගෝයා කුඹුරු වල වීමිටි 7යි 8යි අක්කරයට පැහිලා තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් ඒකට මේ සාධාරණ මිලක් දාලා හරි රජේ මොන හරි කරලා දෙයක් මේ සහනදායි පිළිතුරක් ලබා දුන්නොත් තමයි ගොඩක් හොඳ.
Farmers are forced to sell a 68 kilogram bundle of paddy for 4,000 rupees. The Anamadua Kottukachi area is currently being harvested. This is what the farmers say about their harvest.
When looking at the harvest this time, there is a reduction of around 1,250 kilograms per acre.
Due to the ban on chemical fertilizer during the Maha season of 2021, the amount of harvest obtained from 1 hectare has reduced to 2,853 kilograms. Usually every year during the Maha season, 2.5 million metric tons to 3 million metric tons of paddy is harvested. However, in 2021, the amount of rice harvested in our country was 1.6 million metric tons. That's a 48% reduction. Due to this, rice had to be imported and the price of rice increased rapidly. Experts point out that due to the yellowing of crops, even this Maha season there may be a decrease in the harvest.
Representatives of the collective of trade unions and mass organizations arrived at the Colombo remand prison today to visit convener of the Inter-University Student Federation, Vasantha Mudalige.
The government is celebrating independence while enacting repressive laws and bringing forward rehabilitation bills, thus putting the whole society under severe pressure. We must say that these tricks will no longer fool the society. We ask the government, where is the independence of the people to elect their chosen representatives? People don't even have the freedom to purchase the medicines they need. They don't have the freedom to educate their children. The working population doesn't earn enough to live their lives freely. The word independence is merely an empty shell. Do not try to fool us with your tricks. Meanwhile, several programs were held today to sign affidavits demanding the immediate release of the convener of the Inter-University Students Federation, Vasantha Mudalige. An affidavit signing program calling for the immediate release of Vasantha Mudalige was held in Kegal today. An affidavit signing program was also held opposite the Peradeniya University.
A rally was staged in Batticaloa today to mark Black January, which is being held to demand justice for journalists who were abducted, disappeared and murdered in Sri Lanka. The Sri Lanka Working Journalists Association organized a rally in collaboration with the Eastern Province Journalists Union. The rally started opposite Gandhi Park, Batticaloa, reached Batticaloa private bus station and returned to Gandhi Park.
The commemoration of Sri Lankan journalists who were abducted, disappeared or murdered took place at the Vihara Mahadevi Park in Colombo. The event was organised by the Sri Lankan Working Journalists Association.
If it is possible to investigate various other crimes and bring those criminals to justice, why can't that be done regarding criminals who have committed crimes against the media? What we are doing now is celebrating the journey to demand justice. This is not a journey we are going to stop. We will continue this journey until we get justice.
Despite the month of the crime, justice has not been served for any of the journalists who faced various forms of brutality. Justice is in the dark for them, but they are waiting to see when justice would be served. All these journalists use their pen and pencil for the people. They sacrifice their lives for the public. Because of this, we beg the people to come forward and demand justice for these journalists.
This month has been dubbed Black January, with the aim of exerting pressure on all those responsible for crimes committed against journalists.
There are many journalists who have either disappeared, been murdered or injured. In the end, all these facts lead to political power. It needs to be reminded that if there is a crime that cannot be solved, it always ends up being connected to politics.
Newsfirst's vast network of provincial reporters spread out all across the country gathered at the Newsfirst headquarters in Colombo for a special summit today.
This group of people have led Newsfirst regionally for over 3 decades by consistently fulfilling their media mission and providing fast and accurate information for the people's right to know. They are our strength. Newsfirst provincial reporters from all 25 districts of the island joined today's event. The Newsfirst Provincial Reporters Summit 2023 was initiated in memory of the Newsfirst media colleagues who are no longer with us. Chairman of Capital Maharaja Group, Shashi Raja Mahendran, extended his appreciation to Newsfirst provincial reporters for their dedication and long-term service. Newsfirst senior management and members of Team Newsfirst joined the event. Social activist Peter De Almeida was the guest speaker at the Newsfirst Provincial Reporters Summit.
This
is a very important group of people. You all fulfill a purpose that is vital for this country. The country has faced a downfall. You understand that better than I do. You all live in the villages. What is reporting? Why do you report? It is usually for the public to make decisions. You have a slogan called "We Report, You Decide" with the people. How do you do your work in such a way that people make decisions which can save the country? Does your reporting contribute to the cause? Based on these questions, it is possible for you to decide what to report. Newsfirst serves a great purpose. It is very important. This is your team.
This is your team that does this.
The chairman of Capital Maharaja Group, Shashi Raja Mahendran, spoke on Newsfirst's policy of always standing with the people.
It takes a lot of effort to reach this position. The people watch us to be informed on what happens. There's no one else to fulfill this purpose. We need to always keep in mind that this is our country and that the citizens are people. This should be the attitude of everyone in the country. If the people need to know about something, you all need to work with us to report it fearlessly.
Speaking at the conference, Executive Group Director of Capital Maharaja Group, Shevan Daniel, emphasized that Newsfirst provincial reporters are the ones that protect the right to information and freedom of the people of Sri Lanka.
We always stood for the truth. You stood in the village. You stood in the city. You all were the ones who took that vision to the country. You're not just local reporters. I'd rather refer to you as a group that stands with the people to protect the right to know and the freedom of the citizens.
අපේ ජනතාවගේ නිදහස ආරක්ෂා කරන කණ්ඩායමක් හැටියට තමයි මම ඔබ සියලු දෙනාම හඳුන්වන්න කැමතියි.
News First with the people.
The Ceylon Electricity Board has decided to continue daily power cuts. The CEB says it informed the Public Utilities Commission in this regard. Accordingly, electricity will be disrupted for 2 hours and 20 minutes daily.
The chairman of the Public Utilities Commission says that permission has not been granted for power cuts from the 26th of January until the end of the advanced level examination.
The Board of Directors of the Electricity Board has no power to issue orders regarding power disruptions. The PUCSL is working to take legal action within the next 2 to 3 days against the Electricity Board as per Section 48 of the Sri Lanka Electricity Act number 20 of 2019. They are violating the basic rights of 330,000 students. This is totally illegal. The government should provide the students with the necessary facilities.
A train transporting goods derailed near the Kaluthara railway station today.
The derailment was reported when attempting to fix the engine onto another train transporting goods, which was plying from Kaluthara to Colombo. Our reporter said, as a result, railway services along the coastal line were disrupted. Passengers of trains plying along the coastal line were severely inconvenienced. The railway control room said train services from Colombo Fort have been restricted to Kaluthara North. Several train derailments were reported along the coastal line in recent days.
The Sri Lanka United National Businesses Alliance says that it will take legal action against rising interest rates.
The Sri Lanka United National Businesses Alliance, Local Business Protection Council and small and medium-scale industrialists convened a media briefing in Colombo today and expressed their opinions on taxes and interest rates.
The government has become worse than moneylenders. They take as much as they can from the people and make them suffer. Now they are planning an Independence Day celebration. Every decision is not for the people but for themselves.
This is robbery. They have beaten industrialists, entrepreneurs and the production of goods and services to the ground. Next, they expect tax revenue of 407 billion from VAT. Is this possible? It was 8%, then 12% and 15%. They have completely destroyed us. We seek the help of the court. Obviously, the court knows that when the country's economy is at such a low point, we also will have to take a decision in order to get justice.
This year marks the 25th anniversary of Gateway College. Today, the Gateway College Devala organized a walk and carnival to celebrate this milestone.
The walk, titled A Step Towards Our Golden Era, was organized by Gateway College Devala. The primary objective of the walk was to involve all students from all schools of the Gateway family. The event commenced with a cycle parade from Gateway College Dehivala to the BMICH. Then began the walk, which ended at Gateway College Colombo, where the 25th anniversary carnival was held. The event was organized by Gateway College Colombo under the theme Education for All. The carnival included several entertainment items. Students, staff members, parents, alumni and well-wishers from all 5 Gateway colleges participated in the event.
In your sports news, Belarusian 5th seed Ariana Sabalenka won her first Grand Slam singles title by fighting back to beat Eliana Rybakina in the Australian Open final today.
At the Kettiyen, that's the ready. සයිබර් අවකාශයේ කලබන වුවත් සලකුණ. News First YouTube channelය අදම subscribe කරන්න. News First ජනතාව සමග.
News First News Alert ඔබේ ජංගම දුරකථනයටත් ඔබ ඩයිලොග් පාරිභෝගිකයෙක් නම් English Alert සේවාව ලබා ගැනීමට NFU ලෙසත් Singlish Alert සේවාව ලබා ගැනීමට NUS ලෙසත් Tanglish Alert සේවාව ලබා ගැනීමට NAT ලෙසත් ටයිප් කර 678ට සෙන්ඩ් කරන්න.
News First
ජනතාව සමග.
On TV1 for details of the stories and much more, simply log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk. For the News First, where the people come first, I'm Martin Satyanesan. You take care and good night.